I used to wonder as I grew up and I used to travel abroad, when would my city turn into something that I'm seeing outside? There are a lot of changes happening across the globe. And when or who would make those changes? And there came a woman, and she did make some changes in the city that I lived in. And she's not only speaks about what she does, but she's also proven that it can work, and the change can happen if we just do our part in this lifetime. One of the women whom I most admire, I request her to come on stage, Ms. Vanitha Mohan. Thank you.
Vanakkam. There's an old Mayan saying which says, we do to water what we do to those whom we love. This could not have been better said than in the Coimbatore. Why else would our ancestors 100 years ago think of creating so many water bodies, especially when they lived in a land of plenty? There was so much of water available for them. There was no necessity for them to have created so many water bodies for our posterity. The river Noyal, which flows through the city of Coimbatore, on its 160-kilometer journey before it reaches the river Kaveri, used to enrich this area. It originates in the Western Ghats. 32 channels from the Western Ghats used to feed the river Noyal. There was so much of water, so much, because of the average 2,000 millimeters of rainfall that the Western Ghats used to get were adequately brought and fed into the river Noyal. As a result of which, the river Noyal was used as a trade route to send spices, cotton textiles, and agricultural implements to Rome. That was how the river Noyal was. When the river Noyal flowed through the city, through the Noyal River Basin, it fed close to about 32 tanks and 21 anickets, making this a very, very fertile region. Agriculture flourished. Everyone lived in a land of plenty. And then things changed. The degradation happened, slowly but surely. What happened was, today, the river has shrunk, shriveled. You will not recognize the river. It's totally lost its character. Why? Because all the 32 channels, apart bearing a few, one or two, most of the channels have gone, have disappeared, have been either blocked, encroached, or choked. So there's no water flowing, although we still have 2,000 millimeters of rainfall in the Western Ghats. The water just goes for waste. So the river became dry. And when it flowed through the city, when it still flows through the city, it resembles a garbage drain. And that's a sewage drain. That's how it is. A lot of garbage is getting dumped into the river. Things were really, really bad. Rampant sand mining, indiscriminate pumping of water from the river, all this almost killed the river. In the year 2003, things became so bad, very bad, that the tanks became dry, very dry. The tube wells went dry. Against a permissible limit of 100,000 tube wells, we had close to about 400,000 tube wells sucking water from the ground without replenishing it. There was panic everywhere, scramble for water. 10 days, 15 days, people didn't get water in their pipes. It was very bad, and you could see there was panic everywhere. That's when the corporation threw up their hands and said, we just have enough water for about 2 months in the reservoir, and after that, we don't know. A few corporates in Coimbatore in the year 2003 got together and said, as part of our corporate social responsibility, let's do something. Let's do something to save the city, to save people from the scarcity of water. And that's how Sirutuli was born. Sirutuli, which means a small drop. A question that all of us asked ourselves was, if this region, the Kongu region as it was called, as it is called, had so much of water surplus. Where did the water go? What led us to this water stressed situation? This is the question that we asked ourselves. And we said, let's do something. I'd like to discuss the initiative Sirithuli from two aspects. One, from the environmental impact it has been able to create, and the second from the social impact, from the social impact that it has been able to create in this region. When we started out, all we had was a pocket full of dreams and a heart full of love. A heart full of intense love for this precious resource called water. What we did was we started mapping the entire region because we hardly had any time. We had very little time in our favor. We did a quick trek of the Noyal, and that's when we were appalled to see the condition of the river Noyal. There was hardly any water. It was dry. All the sand had been removed. There was indiscriminate pumping taking place in several areas of the river. And tanks, there's no need to talk about the tanks because the tanks were all gone. It was all silted up. It had become garbage dumping sites. It was encroached upon, several encroachments. All this killed our water bodies. And that's when we approached our district collector, the district administration, and said, let's try something. Please give us one tank that we can take up for restoration and see, let's do something. It was a calculated risk that we took. We said, why not? Let's do something because we have nothing to lose. If we lose, yes, it's a couple of lakhs. But then if we come out of it, we come out of it as winners, then definitely we would have made a small difference to this part of the city. We took up the Krishnamadi tank, which is on the western part of the city, totally encroached, which had a water spread area of 175 acres. Close to 40 acres were encroached upon. The rest were all filled with garbage. And there was no tank. It was all full to the brim with silt. And when we started taking up the work, the farmers in the adjoining area, they came and said, I think you're wasting your time. Please go away. You're wasting your resources, you're wasting your energy, you're wasting your effort. But then we said, no, let's do it. We went 5 meters down. We removed the silt, created bunds, and waited for the monsoon. Meanwhile, we also cleaned up the channel which brought the water to the tank. It was cleaned up, and then we waited for the monsoon. The first day, the second day, and the third day, the water came. The water came, and it came, and it came, and it filled up the tank. There was so much of water, ladies and gentlemen. To our utter surprise, to our utter joy, we knew we had made it. There was no looking back. We went on with renewed confidence to clean up 6 more tanks, to recover 800 acres of water spread area. 230 million cubic feet of water was stored in all these tanks. We went on to create a check dam in Nandangarai, which immensely helped the farming community there. 1,600 hectares of farming land has been put to better cultivation, and it also serves as a water hole for all the animals in the adjoining forests. The third most significant, which is a very noteworthy achievement, has been the construction of rainwater harvesting structures within the city. I'm sure all of you have seen during the monsoon how much of water literally goes down the drain. Because of all the concreting that has taken place within the city, we have very little water percolation space. So we have created water harvesting structures along the roadsides as well as in public spaces. So much so, where there was no water, even at 1,000 feet there was no water. But today, there is water at 30 feet, and in certain areas, at 5 feet, you have water. And that's how much a water percolation, water harvesting. Rapid urbanization also takes its toll on the green cover of a city. There's so much of trees that we lost because of the buildings that have come up, because of the widening of roads. So many thousands of trees. What we have done is launch a program called the Pasumai Payanam, which Green Journey. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam launched the program, and our objective is to plant 1.5 million trees for the 1.5 million population of Coimbatore. And for this, we have networked with several cross-sections of the society. Student community, most importantly, it's the student community. Like Anusha said, we want to empower the children to take responsibility of the environment. This has given us a lot of results. Thus far, we have planted 0.3 million trees, and we hope to achieve our objective over the next 5 years with the help of the citizens of Coimbatore. This is as far as the environmental aspect is concerned. Going on to the social impact. Now, all of you will agree with me when I say the sustainability of whatever we have done will come only when there is awareness, large-scale awareness created among the citizens of this place. When I was growing up, I have seen, like Anusha said, I have seen the river Noyal. I have played in the river Noyal. And everywhere there was water. There was this huge tank, Valangulam, right in front of my school. And I just took it for granted. It would always be there. It is by default. We would have water, we will have the green cover. But why? Why did we not think of protecting it, preserving it, when it was just slipping away right in front of your eyes? And this is where we are concentrating on building a huge network of people. And today I can confidently say that the kind of networking that we have done with the citizens of Coimbatore, the students, the trade bodies, the professional bodies, the corporates, residential associations, the farmers, most importantly the farming community, we have learned tremendously from them. With their help, I'm sure Sirithuli will become, it is already a people's movement. It's a huge people base that we have created, and I'm sure these people are not going to let anything happen to the city. Most recently, yesterday, there were almost 16 trees that were going to be felled without proper justification. And many people in that particular locality, as well as the other citizens, they went there and they've stopped the felling. I hope that the district administration and the corporation will understand our plea for saving those trees, and they will be able to make a difference. The challenges are many, many. Indiscriminate felling of trees when no one is watching. The water bodies getting polluted because of the sewage. Profuse growth of water hyacinth, which is drinking up a lot of water. Many, many more challenges. But I'm sure we'll be able to overcome the challenges if, as a huge mass of people, we are able to stand together, join hands with our hearts and souls and say, we want to save our city. We want to make our city a clean and green city. We want to set an example, because this is a very doable model. This is doable, not only in Coimbatore, everywhere else. Emerson once said, do not go where the path may lead you. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail behind. For all of us in Sirithuli, we want to leave a trail where the river will be flowing, river Noyal will be flowing as she was in the past, filling up all our water bodies, filling up our hearts, and filling us up with love. Finally, before I leave, small drops of care, small drops of concern, small drops of efforts, small drops of perseverance, small drops of all of us can make an ocean of well-being, can create an ocean of well-being for mankind. Thank you very much.